This is Moments with Foo with James Foo Torres, better known as Foo, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and relevant people on the planet, hear their stories, and get the most important business lessons they have learned on their road to success, and get exclusive advice on how to implement their success into your life and business. Moments with Foo is brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board and your host, Foo.
Hey, are you looking to scale your business from 5 figures to 6 figures or 6 figures to 7 figures? If you are, I have the perfect thing for you. What I want you to do today is I want you to go download a book. This book is going to take you through my 3-pillar system. It's 100% free. All you have to do is go to growfast.cash. I say again, go to growfast.cash and you're going to be able to download my free international best-selling book, which is called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. You can take that book. It's going to help you scale your business to the next level. Again, go download it. Be good, be brief, be gone. Growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash. Enjoy.
Welcome to Moments with Foo. I'm your host, James Foo Torres. You can call me Foo. That's the name of the show. Today I have Kirra Sherman. She's a mindset and intuition coach, and I'm going to let her tell you more about that. But first, Kirra, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you?
Doing super fantastic. I learned that from Mr. Johnson. He kind of has been like a mentor for me and a couple of times in my life, and then from there, like I learned about. I don't know if you heard about. Well, you're a mindset and intuition coach, so let's dive right in on this topic of. I've heard a lot about this people living in Delulu land. I don't know if you heard about this term.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, and I saw this saying that I say now a lot. It's like, be the Lulu until it's true Lulu. What are you going to say about that?
Well, first I want to know, what does that mean to you specifically? Like, tell me more.
I like that. For me, being the Lulu is being delusional, but in a sense of just, basically living in a present state that as if your imagination of your ideal delusional life, let's say, right, like the ideal or utopical life, it's happening at the moment, even though it's not happening, but then that's how you attract it.
Yeah. Okay. I love this question. We're going straight there. So let's go. I wasn't expecting
let's
that.
do a quick intro and then go into go into that.
Quick intro. I'm Kirra Sherman. I've been teaching mindset, consciousness, Lululand for over 10 years, since even before really 2012, but officially since 2012. And I facilitate retreats. I work with a lot of business owners, but pretty much anybody who really wants to be more alive in general. And I really, honestly, like the pinpoint crux of it is I help people acknowledge and understand exactly what they really want as distinctive from what they think that they want. And then I help them get it in the most effortless way possible, basically.
So what they need, not what they want. Is that what you said? What
a true desire is. So there's a lot of things that like people think that they want, but it's not a deeper desire. You know, it's like, oh, I want that because I think it'll give me status, or I think it's going to give me, it's going to give me more money, but that more money may be attached to that more fear. Right. So it's like, you think you want something, but it's not that you want. What you really want is to feel more secure, for example, if you want more money. That's usually a big one. Or you want to feel more abundant. You don't necessarily need more money for that, although money typically follows a state of mind and a state of being. So I help people identify what it is that they're truly looking for and weeding out the dreams that are real versus the ones that are really like these ones that are just like, no, I really have this vision. And I also help people imagine that it's possible, because for a lot of people, they're like, well, I can't do that. And that's their MO. It's like their immediate mode of operation is, I can't do that. And you're like, well, not with that attitude, you can't.
Exactly. So you either
But-
you can believe that you can do it, or that you cannot do it, and both times you will be right.
That's correct. So a little bit of mindset there, even just an openness, like opening people's mind to like, hey, you know what? Maybe that is possible. Like, and so I just talked to a client just the other week, and I hadn't working with her in over 6 months. And she's like, oh, by the way, I'm finally going to Spain. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, like it's time, I'm doing it. And she'd been wanting to do it for years, and she just couldn't figure out a way. And for a long time, all she sat with is, I can't. She worked with me for 6 months, and she's like, nope, I can do anything, So it's amazing what your way of thinking can do for your reality and living that Lululand that you want to, right?
Yeah. I've heard about this thing about like just being delusional, and I just start trying it, and I mean it's working. So, I just being so big into analyzing my beliefs, letting go of the ones that don't serve me, visualizing, and just trusting the process of abundance coming in like different shapes and forms, and just not, I follow my passion as my north, and then I do it as often as I can with no assistance of what the outcome should be, and just analyze my beliefs, keep positive attitude, and that's it. Like, that's what I do.
Yeah. Well, what you just said is powerful. And if I may, if I may jump in on delusion, it's not delusion, right? Because a lot of people say it's really, you're harnessing, it's almost like people have two minds. You've got the mind that is very much rooted in what we would call like the known. So you've been taught things, and some of those things that you've been taught, you believed. Some of those things that, were possibilities that you could have believed, you didn't believe for whatever reason. Doesn't matter. But you pick up knowledge, and even the most expanded mindset or anything, you could read a book and it might open your mind. But even if you're following that methodology, or you're honed in on someone else's experience, or even what you think is possible, it's still within the realm of limitation. It's still limited because it's something that's known. It's something that already exists. It's something that's already happened. Typically, people draw from their own past, or they draw from the past of the people that they know. So you might have a really wealthy uncle entrepreneur, right? And you may have been able to draw on that mindset, right? And been like, oh, wait, I know that these things are possible because homie over here taught me that this is possible, right? And so your mindset might be way bigger than somebody who like grew up with two accountants as parents, and like everyone has a 401k and nobody stepped outside of that box. And we're just talking about entrepreneurship. I mean, you could be a freaking artist, or you could be a scientist. Like, it's anything in the known universe or the unknown universe. I once met with a friend of mine who works in private equity, and like, on the big side of private equity. And he's like, we're down in Miami, and it was like a chance meeting. And he's like, come on out. I'm going to take you out on the town. We hadn't seen each other in, 15 years. And he's like, so tell me what you do. And I'm sitting around talking to all these guys, and I tell them what they do. And they're like, you've created an entire economy. Because to them, what I do doesn't exist, they're like, you're like Wendy from Billions, and like, it's like, that's their strongest reference point, but the beauty of what you're saying is removing all the reference points. I was watching a video yesterday, and this guy was like, teaching this kid how to run a race, and she lost versus all the kids, and she was bummed out, and she's like, I lost. He's like, well, why don't you run it again, and we're going to gauge your time. And she ran it 1 second faster. And he's like, this is amazing. And he gets her to celebrate. He's like, you're not running against anybody else. This is your arena. You're only ever really running against yourself. And when you can adopt that kind of a mindset, you let go of all the outcomes, and you especially let go of anybody else's outcomes, so that you can play your game and be really authentic and true to like, no, this is my passion. Like what you said, this is my passion. This is my north. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, whatever that is. But if you can stay open to that, you know that you're always staying true to that north, and that dream is just a matter of time. It's just a matter of whatever process you need to go through in order to become the version of yourself that deserves that feels that it deserves it, that loves it, that's maybe worked for it, because that's your process. You never know what your process is. So I love that you said that you're trusting the process, because there's nothing more valuable on any journey than just letting go and being open and staying open.
Better than trusting the process, I like this phrase of that there's in the Bible. There's like, in all work there's profit. And then there's like this adaptation of Alex Hormozy that he says like, the work is the way. And then I don't know if it was him too, that is like, also like, the process is the destination.
Yeah.
They all kind of say about the same thing, right? But I really like the process is the destination. Clearly you too, because you resonated with that when I said it.
Yeah, sure. Well, because it's the purity. You're talking about the purity. You're doing something unto itself. You know how I said earlier that a lot of people do things because they want something else? It's like this false target. And they think, if I have this thing, then I'll have something else. That's not pure. That's not you. Like, I'm getting on this podcast with you because I'm a human conditioning, human potential geek. I want to sit here and talk about people, with people like you all day long. I don't
Same.
care if anybody watches this podcast. We're going to have an interesting conversation. We're going to vibe, right? We're going to be like, oh yeah, that thing. And I'm going to share this thing. And it's like, and it just reinforces something that's already very real, but it may even expand it further. For me, that takes my journey further into the depths of that feeling, that, whether it's a feeling or it's just the experience of the feeling and that knowing, and I might come up with something new. I might download something new, right? Well, right when we're talking, and that couldn't have taken place without going through this process. Right.
Exactly.
So I'm here for this. If anybody notices this and is like, oh, I like what she has to say, that's
There's a bonus.
That's a new moment,
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there.
Yeah. And obviously, we both would enjoy if somebody gets value of this and they tell us, because at least for me, I like I like feeling useful. I like feeling helpful, like somebody that is giving value. So that's why I want to have this conversation regardless if we record it and make it a podcast or not. Like you said, basically, right? So and I just trying to be productive with it. It's like, well, look, I want to have this conversation anyway. Might as well record it and distribute it if it's pretty easy to do it. So,
but I guess the initial intent is where the power is, right? It's like when we're talking about, like, bringing it back to that quote, it's this journey. It's like, I'm never wasting any time if everything that I'm doing is what I want to do. It's like, I am one with the process because the process is what I want.
exactly.
Now, sometimes trusting the process is when there's, like, in a different context, right? Where like life throws at you a curveball and you might have an emotional reaction against said curveball, right? And like, okay, now I need to really trust the process because, well, I can't see where this is going. Maybe I feel a little unsafe. Maybe I feel like I'm in judgment. Like my, this is a good example, or maybe a really dark one. I don't know, but like my dad has cancer.
Let's go dark.
Let's go dark. No, seriously though, it's now I feel bad making a joke out of it. No, my dad has cancer, and I came home to spend time with my family, you know, and it was very clear to me it was not out of obligation. It was just like, go home, be with them. And I felt to support their process and support my process and all the things. But, you know, you get news like that and it's like, oh, okay, I need to trust this process. Maybe my dad lives. Maybe my dad doesn't live. I need to accept both of those possibilities. That's where you're not in delusion, is when you have peace with your life as it is while holding space for your dream and continuing to live as though both are simultaneously exciting, or at least you're connected with both, right? Then you're not in delusion because you're like, oh, these things are gonna happen, but you're only living here. It's like, I'm living here. I love my life. And I still am living as though this is going to be my reality at some point. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. And I think just thinking about it based on what you were saying and all the things that I have in my mind, that because of things that I previously heard, being in the Lululand could also just be related to just keeping a positive attitude no matter what happens. You know, like, you know, for example, like you said about your dad thing and you're like, oh, like we're laughing, but it's like nothing is really bad or good inherently. I think life just is, and we decide what meaning we give it to it. And that's something that it could be perceived as living in the Lululand, right? Because like, you're being delusional, because like, how can you laugh at like your dad having cancer? But in reality, it just is. I mean, it just happened. It's not like I'm laughing at him. Oh, you have cancer, ha ha ha. It's more of like I just said a comment of like, let's go dark, and then you said, and that's it. And it was funny, and we laugh, and it doesn't. It's just not bad or good. It just is, right? And if we laugh, that's it. So that, I'm always trying to find ways to laugh, right? I'm always trying to like, how do I take the thing that it could be perceived as the most negative thing and still find a positive meaning to it? And that's could be seen as delusional, right? Like living delusional. But for me, it's just the best thing that you can do, because there's nothing like just having a not having a positive attitude, right? And having any type of like anger or sadness or anything will never help your situation, right? Feel your whole spectrum of emotion. Yeah. It's not like don't feel and always just like trying to be laughing and stuff. Like feel, like we're here to feel as humans, but don't let it destroy you, right? Like don't let it like consume you. Just feel it, analyze it, and then find a positive meaning to it, however you can.
Looking to grow your business beyond 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures plus? What I want you to do is go download this book. The title is called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. It will help you grow your business past 5, 6, and 7 figure. Go download the book today. Growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash, and download the book for absolutely free.
Yeah, I mean, I take people through a slightly different process, because you're right. You're touching on some really important points there. Number one is it's not dark unless you've got an emotion around it or you've got resistance around it. That's what makes things pretty dark, actually, is your pain, or rather, you know, like the Buddhists define suffering as more the resistance to pain. Actually, it's the resistance to what happens. And so when you're in the resistance to, well, I don't want to feel what I'm going to have to feel if that thing happens. And that's where like, it's like Lululand is actually spiritual bypass, where you go, oh, I'm just going to be positive, but I'm not going to acknowledge the feeling. That's actual delusion, right? Where like, and I came from the spiritual realm. So this is no judgment on the spiritual. I mean, I teach spirituality effectively, but like what I'm saying is it gets a bad rap at some points in there because they kind of teach you like, well, you need to be like, this all the time. And in fact, the only way you get to this is after you felt the range of emotions, because when you've got a volcano going off and you're not honest with yourself about how emotional you really are, like, there have been moments along this journey with my parents where I've shed tears, where I've had a moment of getting choked up and feeling something. And I've taken a moment and I felt what I needed to feel. And then I come back to the present moment. I come back to the here and now. And I'm like, well, I mean, my dad's cracking jokes too, to be fair, like we have that kind of sense of humor and that kind of family anyway. But, so I think first of all, humor is also a very powerful thing, it makes, it's why comedians are so popular, because they take some of the darkest shit and, they turn it into laughs because people can relate. It's like, oh, we all have all the things, you can relate to all the pockets. And if you're not relating to all the pockets, you're in denial, right? That's the real denial.
Definitely.
But I like what you said about we're here to feel. I think that's a really big truth. And I think a lot of people are really afraid of discomfort. And that's what really limits them from their fullest expression, both as a human and as a creative and a creator and somebody who's here to express and do all the things. And then I also think that to me, it's not positive or negative, and I don't even consider it positive thinking. To me, it's just like acceptance. It's like I find my okayness with everything, and it's not so much positive, but it's like I'm open. I'm open. It's like, yeah, I'm going to stay with the good vibes, I guess. It's like, well, it all could be going to hell in a handbasket, but like, I'm not going to let it destroy me. It's like, this too is going to change,
Yeah. And kind of go back to trust the process. I choose to believe that there's no coincidence, right? And everything is perfect how it is. So everything is happening for a reason. So I'm just taking it as it is and having a curious approach to everything that happens. Like, why do I feel this way? Why does this make me feel this way? Why? Right? Like, and just also not just trying to find like the why just in my head, but also try to find it in my body. Try to feel it. Try to just feel it, right? Like not everything have to think and overthink it. Like there's a lot of wisdom in the body, and just in the energy around us that doesn't speak English, right? It's just it speaks vibrations and frequencies,
or Spanish,
or Spanish, right? Like I'm just saying, English is. Oh, do you talk Spanish too?
A little bit.
Oh no. Okay, cool.
I mean, more than a little bit, but I don't know if you want me to speak Spanish right now.
No. It's fine. No, we're gonna do another one in Spanish. But yeah, like that's I think there's a lot of takeaways in this conversation so far. So I'm very pleased about the direction that this podcast took.
Well, you just reminded me of something because I think. Like I self-reflect and I call it self-reflection. So like you're saying analyze, I interpret that to like reflect, right? And then the other thing though that a friend of mine used to say to me is like, human beings, especially in the one mind, is they're really meaning-making machines.
I haven't heard that term before, but I completely agree. Meaning making machines.
And there's such a fine line, right? There's such a fine line between like self-reflection and like finding like the reason or the meaning. And then also sometimes just being like, this one just really is what it is. Like, this is just the experience. There's nothing in it for me. There's no reason. There's no bigger, meaning or purpose. It's just like, this is just what it is. The butterfly just flew onto my fingertip. No. And there's nothing else in it. It's not because I was good. It's not because I transcended some, mindset or whatever. It's just like in the moment. And that's the thing about the moment that's, next level is actually when you're really removing the thought of it and the meaning altogether. And you're just really able to fully extend yourself into the feeling of it without any noise, without any chatter, without the radio station commentarying.
And that made me think about trusting your intuition because, by my personal experience, I started my spiritual journey about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, like deeper, right? Because I kind of, as I started I've always been spiritual. Like I always believed that there's something bigger and energy and all these things. I just started like diving deeper as I became an entrepreneur because being an entrepreneur is so difficult that you have to believe in something to make it to have something to stand on, like when everything goes to shit. And then my second awakening, let's say that it has been a year and a half ago. I met the erotic alchemist Stephanie J, and she became my coach, and she kind of helped me by starting with breath work and then getting to know my body and then how to turn the all the negative connotation of sexual energy that I was in my mind into positive things and have it and use harnessing that power for good rather than like a crutch. That's something that it's holding me back because I'm addicted to sex or things related to that. So
Yeah.
and in that, like in that journey, I started getting more, I don't know if the right word is esoteric or more like into the metaphysics and more into the woo woo, let's say, right? And as a guy that was studying engineer, I was studying engineer in the best school here in Puerto Rico. I'm always been good in science and math because it made sense to me. Like 1+1 is 2, like science, there's this laws, there's this things, and it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But then you start getting into the quantum physics, and then you start learning about all like astrology and all these things. And then I'm like, look, I sometimes don't have proof like laws and things that I have on traditional science or math, but because of quantum physics now, right? Like it really kind of like helps you to open the door to explain spirituality in a scientific way. And my coach kind of like merges those two of like, look, let me ground this for you. But then like she's like, look, this is the woo explanation, this is the grounded explanation. And
Yeah.
that was a great kind of like segue for me to come into this and almost to the Lululand sometimes because I choose to believe certain things that I don't really have proof of. And I'm a meaning making machine for sure. But at the same time, I've learned to just trust my intuition and just take life as life just is. And then I have this constant thing of I see the 111 and I take it as a good sign. I just choose to believe there's a good sign. I don't need to go deep into like the meaning of no, like it was 111 specifically because of this and that. Like, but I choose to believe that it was a good sign, and that's it, right? And so that's like that mix between I I want to be as grounded as possible, but and that's might be seen as the meaning making of everything. But then also it's just sometimes I don't have to give meaning to everything. It just is, and I can choose to believe whatever. And if it makes me laugh and it makes me feel good, then that will have a positive effect regardless of it's ultimately true or not. And what is the ultimate truth anyway, right? So that's what I'm thinking in here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I love all that. I mean, what I heard from, the beginning side is your journey being, you began to channel energy from that existed kind of in this realm, and then you started putting it more to creativity, business, and also into thought. And not thought in a limited way, but reflecting on what is, right? So what energy am I channeling into what new energy, right? So that makes sense to me. You said something about intuition, and this is where my wheelhouse comes in, which is, we talk about like signs, or I like to call them signposts, I guess. It's you're using I use my feeling. I'll speak for myself. I use my feeling on it. So like if I see something and it speaks to me, that's for me. Right. But I'm not looking for it. Right. Like just to use your example of like signs, oh, it's 11, 11, 11, like I don't get excited about it. Like, it's like, oh, that's cute. Sometimes it's just, oh, that's cute. I noticed that it's 11, 11 and that's got, and it's like, just like a feel good moment. Right. And then there are times where there's a feeling that pulls me, and it's like, look over there. Like I have a very, I was on my way to accepting a business deal with someone, and I was in Australia at the time, and I was on a bus. And anyway, so I'm probably listening to my iPods, and I'm just kind of looking out. It's at night, and so you can't see that much on the bus looking out going to where I was going in Sydney. And anyway, long story short, I look over and I just had like dropped into the decision fully. Like it was like I was already decided, but I was like really all in. And it was just like, yes. And as soon as I really felt the fullness of that all in moment, I look over to the right, and it's, one of those clocks that goes, the time is now, 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 and it had taken me a few weeks to kind of like get to that point. So it's like stuff like that, like I'm going to smile because it's like, yeah, all right. The me is the universe just reinforced that like, yes, the time is now. You're right on. You're on your, I got a signpost. But it's when people get lost in like the looking for them, and because they're looking for their own assurance. They're looking for the meaning because they're looking for the security. They're looking for something to say you're good, you're doing great. It's instead of really honing in and pulling it back, because the opportunity is to hone in and be like, no, can you feel your own certainty? Do you know this is the right decision for you? Are you all in on that thing? And if you're not, if you're 99%, I mean, a lot of what I do is help entrepreneurs make decisions. And people will be like, well, I don't understand why it's not happening. And I'm like, tell me about your decision. They'll tell me, I'll hear their language. I'm like, what percentage are you on the scale from 1 to 100? They're like 98. I'm like, well, 98 ain't going to get you there, is it? Because what you want is not the amount of money you have in your bank account. What you want is impossible to your eyes right now. So you got to be 100% with that decision if you want that to come to fruition. It can't be 98. It can't be 99.9. Because right now, what you're looking for is something that doesn't exist. 99 doesn't get you there. Not if you want a latte and you've got 30 grand in your bank account, that's easy. Right?
Pretty easy.
Like I can manifest a cup of coffee that real easy when I've got 30 grand and I need a latte. But if I want to build a retreat center and I don't have $2 million to $5 million, I better be 100% on that wish list. You know what I mean? So just speaking to delusion, there's a lot of delusion in not being 100% on something that you really love, just to tie that back into,
To put it on a bow and send it, like we're getting close to Christmas. So, get a gift.
Send it into the ether.
Yeah. Kirra, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. And I typically ask for actionable tips or advice, but I think we've said so many. We're kind of coming up already at 32 minutes, and I got another podcast coming up. So cool. I appreciate a lot your energy and your words, and I think we're very aligned in a lot of things. And
totally.
I want to ask you, last thing is, who you're looking to connect and how can people find you?
Yeah. I'm looking to connect with anybody who kind of feels anything that I just said, and really people who are looking to get very clear on, bringing whatever they think is impossible to life, and you don't have to think it's that impossible. You might be on the cusp of it, but that's my wheelhouse, is really getting people to really tick over from I'm I'm 50%, I'm 25%, I'm 99%. No. We're going to get you to that next thing. And next thing you know, you're going to buy a house and you're going to be like, what? I can't believe that just happened. Or whatever it is that you desire. They can find me on my website. I'm KirraSherman.com. I'm also a Live Woman Retreats. I work with a lot of women business owners specifically, but anybody and everybody's welcome.
Beautiful. Thanks again for being here. It's been a pleasure, and I hope that we keep seeing each other. I mean, we met at Retreat Match community,
Sure.
and I'll be there. I mean, I have a very strong relationship with the leader, which is Catherine Contos, and I really love what she's building there, and I'm helping her building. In the front end by doing the I don't know if you've seen like the BAM series that we did. We did some live events for like 7 weeks in a row, and we're doing a lot of things to just give as much value as possible to people, because we want to just get heart-centered people together, give them value, amplify their impact so they can heal more people and have more positive impact in the world.
I like their organization a lot. I've got a meeting with her coming up, so.
Yeah, so I hope to see you around in the community. It's amazing.
Sounds
and we're
great.
giving, and it's just starting, and it's already valuable, and we're just making it more valuable by the week. So
Yeah. Well, I'll probably see you on a couple of those mixers. I really enjoyed that one, and I look forward to more.
yeah, like for me, they're a priority, and sometimes I just accidentally didn't put it on my calendar or something. That's the reason that I haven't gone like before. But and now I'm making sure there's like, let me make sure that from like I finished this one, and I'm like, send me the other one. And I even tell Kat, it was like, hey, just if you don't see me, just ping me, because I want to be there. Yeah. So hope to see you there, because it's an amazing community we're building. So thank you, Kirra.
Thank you.
So
Appreciate it.
this was Kirra Sherman and Foo. This is us signing off. Peace.
Hey, we all want to scale our business. Hey, I have the answer for you today to help you do that. If you're looking to scale from 5, 6, even 7 figures and beyond, book called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. I'm going to give it to you for free. All you have to do is type in growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash, and you can download the book for absolutely free. I hope the book helps you this year. Take your business to the next level. Again, go grab the book, growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash. I wish you the best, and grow, scale, and win.
Thanks for listening to Moments with Foo with your host, Foo. Please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and we will see you on the next episode.
There it is. Magnum. Holy moly. Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for! Dear God, it's beautiful.